Hey team, on this video I wanted to go over why you should run slow for faster marathon times. And I think this is an important topic because, again, you have to focus on being very strategic if you want to run a faster marathon. It's not just about training faster all of the time. It's not just about doing the faster, very paced long runs that I talk about. That philosophy of running at your anaerobic threshold during your long runs and running at VO2 max efforts for smaller segments of your long runs back into easy pacing. That's very important in order to run a fast marathon, but you also have to keep in mind that running slow and being able to build that aerobic fitness first before you start doing faster, more specific marathon race pace type training and training at your VO2 max, running at maximal effort or sub-maximal effort, getting very close to your maximum heart rate, is still vital in order to be a faster marathon runner. And I think that if you just jump into doing anaerobic training and you don't build that aerobic base and you don't get in the habit of running slow for long periods of time and getting into that habit of first building that foundation, then it's going to be very hard to be a faster marathon runner. And I think that even for me personally, when I started running marathons back in 2002, I didn't necessarily understand the importance of running slow first. I was so caught up in running faster. I got to run at faster paces in order to be a faster marathon runner. And so for me personally, I had to get into the habit of learning first how to learn how to get to a point where I could run like 15 miles or up to 20 miles around 32K easy, and being able to first accomplish that and to be able to learn what it felt like to run for that long of a period of time on my feet, and first get to that particular type of fitness before I started thinking about, okay, well, I'm able to now run 15 to 20 miles, even a little bit further than 20 miles for my long runs. How do I get to a point where I can hold that particular duration, but run that whole time or close to that, maybe 50% of that particular duration at my goal race pace, and even certain segments of my long run at faster than my goal race pace? Okay, and it takes time. There's no easy path to that. You don't just jump into doing 32K, 35K, 40K long runs at 10 seconds slower than goal race pace, and then segments of maybe 16 kilometers of that 40K long run at 10 seconds faster than goal marathon race pace. So why you should run slow for faster marathon times is you have to build your endurance. Those long, slow, long runs where you're just building up your fitness, you're building up, not only your physiologically building up your ability to handle long periods of time on your feet, but it also helps you mentally to be able to know that, hey, I can go out and I can run 32K to 40 kilometers and not stop. I can start and finish that particular duration without stopping, and that is going to build an enormous amount of confidence. And as a marathon runner, you don't just jump into doing faster, very paced long runs. I mean, it's not something that happens quickly. I always caution runners before you even start thinking about that to spend about 6 to 8 weeks building your endurance first. So you run long, slow, and easy first. You can still do strides, you can still do track workouts, maybe some 4 to 5 1600 meter reps, or maybe 3 times 5 kilometers on the roads at goal race pace, or your goal half marathon race pace. So again, significantly faster than marathon race pace. But as you're doing that build up for the first 6 to 8 weeks, build your endurance first. Build into doing, don't just jump into doing faster, very paced long runs. Be gradual with your build up. That way you gradually progress in terms of your fitness, and as you build into you're more of an anaerobic capacity to be able to run faster, very paced long runs, and you improve your body's lactate tolerance, you will have first been smart with your build-up. Do what a lot of the top runners, including myself, I mean, even when I was in my prime, this is how I started. I spent several years getting very good at running long, slow, long runs, okay? But over time, the fitter I got, the faster I wanted to run for the marathon distance, I realized, okay, now I have to progress into running faster long runs, but also always alternating, okay? And I always talk about, yeah, you can do some long runs at faster paces, maybe even like a progression long run, where you're doing, say it's like a 20-mile long run or 32 kilometers. You're doing the first 16K easy, and then the last 16K, you're doing each mile 10 seconds faster than the previous mile. So for example, you might be doing, if you're doing the last 16 kilometers of your 32K long run or 20 miles, and say you're aiming to run a marathon at sub 3-hour marathon pace. That's 6:52 mile pace, 4:16 kilometer pace. So that might mean starting off your first mile of your last 16 kilometers, your first mile, or the last 10 miles of your 20-mile long run, starting that off at say 7:15, and then running your 12th mile at 7:05, and your 13th mile at 6:55. You're dropping 10 seconds faster. That's a progression type run. Or it might mean doing, like for example, when I was in my prime, trying to run 5:25 mile pace for the 26.2 mile distance, I would do maybe the first 16 kilometers easy, and then the last 16 kilometers the same way. But in my case, it might be starting off at 5:45, 5:35, 5:25, 5:15, 5:05, 4:50. I mean, you're gradually increasing the paces of that, okay? But you will not become a successful marathon runner if you don't get in the habit of first realizing that you have to humble yourself. You have to realize if you're not in great anaerobic shape, you have to start aerobically. So the best runners have to do the same thing. Even elite level athletes, national class level athletes, regional class athletes, they all have to have the discipline to first get in the habit of spending several weeks, several months. In this case, usually I would say 6 weeks to 8 weeks. If you're doing that first, you're running long, slow, and easy long runs for those first 6 to 8 weeks, that is going to make you very well prepared to go into specific marathon training phases of your buildup. Okay, and I always say a longer buildup is better for marathon runners than a short buildup. If you're doing 20 to 24 weeks, even 16 weeks, you're really going to set yourself up for success. But 20 to 24 weeks, 5 to 6 months is phenomenal, because again, it does take about 3 weeks up to 28 days for your body to adapt to any stress load you're placing on it. So if you're giving yourself more time to build up for a marathon buildup, you're going to be able to, one, have better quality workouts. You're giving yourself more time to physiologically adapt to the stress load you're placing on yourself, whether that's track workouts, you're doing tempo runs. Tempo runs are tough to do. Anaerobic threshold runs, a little bit faster, about 10 seconds faster than tempo efforts. But if you're doing a combination of those, anybody that starts a marathon buildup will, and I'm preaching the choir, I know you all understand this, and me certainly too during my buildups, I would have a hard time when I was just starting off doing 2 to 3 miles at tempo pace at the beginning. And then I would work my way up to a point where I could run anywhere from around 16 kilometers up to around 14 miles, 10 miles up to 14 miles at tempo effort or anaerobic threshold effort, mixture of both. But I didn't just start, I didn't just jump into that, okay? So even before I started doing those types of efforts, the faster track sessions, the VO2 max workouts, things like that, hill repetitions, it was always about running slow. First, building that fitness first. So why you should run slow for faster marathon times is, one, you're being strategic, you're not rushing yourself, you're building that mental toughness that running long and slow for very long periods of time demands on the body and on the mind. You get in the habit of doing that in anything. If you get in the habit of doing something and you're consistent and you're persistent over a long enough period of time, you're going to get very good at what you do. because you're not just lukewarm about it. You're white hot, driven, and focused to be better at what you do. And so I do believe that there is something to be said about running slow and getting into the habit of doing this over a long period of time before you start being even more technical and more strategic in your buildup, where you're running at marathon race pace, you're running below marathon race pace, you're focusing on speed training where you're working more on improving the lactate tolerance capability so that you can clear it faster than it's building up. And so that, again, you can be much more better prepared than your competition that may not be doing enough training at those specific types of paces. So I hope this video on why you should run slow for faster marathon times has been helpful for you. Leave me a comment below if you have any questions, anything else I can help you out with. Certainly understand the marathon distance. You know, I ran it for the marathon from 2002 when I debuted up to 2013 when I ran my last competitive race as a marathon runner when I was 37, and I finished that one in 2:32. Debuted with a 2:43, PR'd with a 2:19 when I was 31 in 2007, and then again ran my last marathon in 2013. So again, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of ebbs and flows, had a lot of setbacks, had a lot of doubts along the way. So trust me, I understand. But again, it's about consistency and believing in what you're doing, not losing enthusiasm as you go through your build-up, and you're going to be successful, period. So I hope this was helpful for y'all, and I'll talk to you guys and gals all in the next video.